Welcome to IVF This, episode 122, My IVF Twas the Night Before Beta. Welcome to IVF This. I'm your host, Emily Ginn. After 10 years of primary and secondary infertility due to both male and female factor infertility, I am now the mother to 3 beautiful miracles. I am married to my favorite person in the world. I'm a social worker, a life coach, and an IVF warrior. I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and emotions during your IVF journey, to break free from anxiety and regain control of your life, even in the midst of infertility. I'm going to teach you how to say IVF this to how we think about, talk about, and experience infertility. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you are all doing so well today. This episode's going to be a little different. It's going to be on the short side. And I know I say that often and then still continue to drone on for 15 to 20 minutes, but this is objectively true. This will be a much shorter episode. But the reason that we're doing this episode is because I was actually sharing some of my personal writings with a client/friend of mine. And she mentioned you have to use this poem on the podcast. And this poem, the poem that I'm going to read you, is, as it sounds, a take from The Night Before Christmas, or 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. But it's based on how I was feeling the day before our beta back in 2021, which was our very last cycle. We're not going to be doing any more cycles. So I don't want you to think that Emily's going through another IVF cycle. Emily will not be going through another IVF cycle. But she felt very strongly that this probably was a poem that could help connect people to that process, connect people to that M baby that they're holding on to, that they're going to find out tomorrow, if that worked, if they're there, all of that. And it just kind of captured my mood. And I want to emphasize this very closely. My mood the day before our beta. As with everything on the IVF This podcast, it is cafeteria style. We take what works for us and we leave what doesn't. I say that all the time and it rings true, especially today. There are going to be things that I talk about in this poem. It's a very short poem. Like, I'm not going to keep you here for hours and hours. It's a very short poem, but I talk about my relationship with my husband. Maybe that doesn't apply to you in your situation, right? That's okay. You can take what works for you. If you like the poem and want to change it up for yourself, beautiful. This is not a copyrighted thing. Nothing like that. I want you to make it yours and make it work for you if that is what you want to do. It's certainly not optional. I am Christian by faith, and I do mention the Lord in that poem. And if that doesn't work for you, that's okay too. If you want to scrap it, that's fine. If you want to make that work for you too, that's beautiful as well. So all of the caveats, all of the warnings, all of the things before we get started, because I want this to be a beautiful representation, again, of my experience the night before our beta. But if it can help you and if you want to take it and use it, I would love that. And that has always been the goal of the IVF This podcast. So here we go. 'Twas the night before beta. 'Twas the night before beta when all through the hopeful mom, all the emotions were stirring and the hope was strong. The anxiety is hung on every single word and dreams of an M baby ring so loud to nearly be heard. The question lingers, what will tomorrow bring? Could it be grief or possibly the most amazing thing? Hope and fear in equal measure with the knowledge that whatever happens, we will always be together. This M baby and I are forever linked, but the news tomorrow could make my heart soar or sink. I carry the weight of all that could be with the love and support of those that surround me. The eager anticipation grows larger by the minute, but believing in the future and the possibilities, infinite. But tonight I will rest easy in the hands of my Lord, knowing his love for us and our love for you can never be ignored. Signed, one hopeful mama and daddy. Oh, I got so emotional reading that. Oh my goodness, it brought me right back to that moment, August 3rd, 2021, when we were waiting to find out I'm genuinely tearing up. This is an unusual turn. It has been almost 2 years since that day, and it's still, like, guys, I want you guys to know, I still carry this stuff with me, right? We've had, by all accounts, a very successful IVF experience. And yet all of these emotions are still with me, right? The fear, the anxiety, the gratitude, the appreciation, the sadness, and the grief. It is all still here, sometimes right under the surface and sometimes a little bit further down. So I hope that brings peace and love and comfort to some of you. And to all of you, I want you to know that even though I'm never going to go through another IVF cycle, I still hold each of you so closely and so tightly because I have been there and I understand. And I want all of you to have your heart's desire. So that was my experience, my IVF, my night before my beta, August 3rd, 2021. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. I will clean myself up and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of IVF This. If you like what you've heard, click subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you want to learn more, head over to www.ivfthiscoaching.com to learn how to work together.